All right, so you've given us a ton of research and articles all about personalizing e-commerce
Hmm.
and what's coming up next for SEO.
Right.
And it seems like you're really ready to step it up
Yeah,
based on what you've given us.
absolutely.
It seems like you're really trying to figure out how to make a really captivating experience online.
Yeah.
So
You'd say it?
consider this your crash course
Yeah.
in making your online presence so compelling
Yeah.
that it feels like it was made just for each person who visits your site.
What's really interesting about where e-commerce is headed is it's moving away from just getting customers to come to your site. It's more about making them feel like you were expecting them, like you planned for them to come,
Yeah.
like you rolled out the red carpet just for them.
Yeah, a few of these articles actually said exactly that
Yeah.
it's not enough to just be online anymore.
Yeah.
To really stand out, you have to create an experience that feels like it was made for the customer.
Right.
Like a hyper-personalized experience.
Exactly like. Think about a time that you walked into a store and the person behind the counter knew your name, maybe even like your style a bit, about your life.
Right.
That's the level of connection that we're talking about recreating online.
So how do we do that? A few of the articles you sent mentioned using data to figure out your customer.
Yeah, data is really important for that. So some of your sources mentioned 3 data points that you could leverage to start personalizing your e-commerce. Browsing history,
Hmm.
past purchases, and get this, even things that have been left in abandoned carts.
So it's like you have a detective on the case, but instead of solving crimes, they're figuring out the perfect customer experience.
Exactly. And your sources talk about more than just collecting this data. They go into how to use AI and other tools to figure out what all this data means.
Okay, a few of the articles mentioned AI-powered recommendation engines. Is that what we're talking about?
Exactly. One of your articles mentioned Recommendation Engine X. And it stood out to me because it uses machine learning to analyze customer data. And it predicts what each user is most likely to want to see in
Wow.
real time. It's like
Yeah.
each customer has their own personal shopper for your website.
So that makes sense. But it's not just about telling people what products to buy, right? Personalizing goes beyond that.
You're totally right. It's about the entire journey of the customer, from the moment they visit your site to after they've bought something. Imagine sending out emails to people about what they're interested in, offering special discounts, even loyalty programs to make them feel like a VIP.
That's what I call going above and beyond. It's more than just selling something to someone. It's about forming a relationship with them.
And that's how you make a customer feel valued. Like they're not just a number. When you make that effort, it can turn a customer who only buys from you once into someone who always comes back.
Right.
But personalization is just one part of it. To really do well online, you also need to know how to use SEO. And it's changing all the time.
And when it comes to SEO, one of the articles you sent me said that it was like a living, breathing thing. It seems like just when you think you've got it figured out, everything changes on you.
Yeah, it's always evolving,
Mm.
especially because of all the changes in technology that are happening. To stay ahead, you really have to know what's going to happen next.
Well, I'm ready to fire up the SEO time machine if you are. What's the biggest change we can expect to see soon?
All your sources point to voice search as the next big thing. More and more people are talking to their devices instead of typing,
Yeah.
and they're asking questions in a more natural way.
Right, it's not best coffee shop city anymore. It's, hey Siri, find me the best coffee shop near me that has oat milk lattes.
Exactly. And one of your articles talked about how important it is to optimize for that kind of natural language. It even mentioned a study that said that voice searches are longer than text searches, and they use more specific words. People are more likely to say near me or in city when they're talking out loud.
So how do we optimize for that? We can't just fill our websites up with every word that someone might say to their Alexa.
Yeah, keyword stuffing is definitely a thing of the past. Instead, you should focus on creating good content that answers people's questions and use the same kind of language that people use when they speak out loud.
So you have to think like the person using voice search. What are they looking for? What problems are they trying to solve?
And you can't forget about the technical side of things. Another important thing your articles talked about was mobile optimization. We use our phones for everything these days. And if your website is hard to use on a phone, you might lose customers before they can even buy anything.
For sure. A couple of the articles said the same thing. You have to have a website that looks good on phones. If it takes too long to load or it's hard to use on a phone, people will just go back to Google and find a different website.
And if someone has a bad experience on their phone, it actually tells Google that your website isn't very good. And then Google might not show your website to as many people.
It always comes back to the customer, whether it's personalization, voice search, or mobile design. It's all about making sure that the customer has the best experience possible.
Exactly.
Mm.
Another important part of that is the actual content on the website. And your sources all agreed. Content is still really important.
Mm. I'm sensing a theme here. It seems like quality is more important than quantity. So what makes content stand out?
Well, Google and other search engines are getting smarter. They want to show people content that is useful and interesting, content that answers questions and gives people new information. That's how you become an expert in your field.
So you're saying we shouldn't just be like writing a million blog posts and hoping for the best.
Right. You need to think about it more strategically.
Right.
One of the most interesting things I saw in your research was this idea of topic clusters.
Okay.
Instead of having a bunch of random content on your website, you group it all together around a main topic.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, instead of just writing one blog post about winter boots,
Mm-hmm.
you could have a whole section on your website just about winter boots.
Oh, okay.
You could have a post about how to pick the right winter boots, one about how to style them, maybe even a video about how to waterproof them.
Wow. So you're really creating a whole experience around winter boots.
Exactly. And each of those posts would link back to the main page about winter boots. That way Google sees that you're an expert on winter boots.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with voice search.
Yeah, because if you have a lot of information about winter boots, people are more likely to find your website when they ask their voice assistant about winter boots.
So it all connects.
It all connects. Yeah.
Okay, so if you had to choose just one thing to take away from all of this, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I think the main takeaway is that e-commerce isn't just about selling things anymore. It's about building relationships.
Yeah.
You have to make people feel like you care about them.
I like that. It's not about getting people to buy something just once. It's about creating a connection with your customers so they keep coming back.
Exactly. If you combine that personal touch with SEO, you'll be way ahead of the curve.
I feel so inspired right now. We've talked about so much today, from using data to understand our customers to creating content that actually means something.
And remember, things change so fast online. But if you focus on your customers and always try to give them something useful, you'll be in great shape.
Well, it's been so fun doing this deep dive with you today, and we hope you learned a lot. See you next time.